I find, as a classic Doctor Who fan, that it should be my duty and honour to try and get people into the old Doctor Who's, who are fans of the newer stuff. However, I find it quite difficult. I can understand why people don't like the old footage so much. Things like the slower pace, especially with the old stuff, like the Patrick Troughton and William Hartnell. It's terribly slow paced because of the way TV was written back then. It's terribly much more theatre based. There are deliberate fluffs. You can see people stammer their lines and they leave it in. It's got wobbly scenery. It's a lot less polished, and I can understand why people don't like it. But I also know that there's a problem of getting shown the wrong thing. I know a lot of people who can't stand, like, Tom Baker's Doctor because they've had a friend who's shown them something that is really naff, and that you have to be a fan to begin with to enjoy. As I say, with the really old stuff, it's even worse because it's such a different writing style to what we're used to. However, I think I've found the perfect jumping in point for William Hartnell, and that is the Keys of Marinus. I just finished watching this the other day and I love this. This is probably one of my favourite William Hartnell stories now. It has no real geeking out backplot, oh, this links to this story and this story over here. But that's a good thing. You don't need to know your lore to just enjoy it as a silly adventure. And it's one of the fastest paced I've watched. The Keys of Marinus is a 6-episode serial telling multiple stories, multiple short stories, to gain as an overall quest. They have to collect the Keys of Marinus. The first episode, The Sea of Death, which is that's another thing with these. Actually, they've got some really classic names. So yeah, first episode, The Sea of Death. The TARDIS lands on an island surrounded by acid on a beach of glass. They find this big Inca-style temple and basically are given this quest to go and gain these 4 keys to and prevent the enemy, the Vurg, I think they're called. Does it say here? It should do. Yeah, I think it's the Vorg. No, the Vrood. Yes, they've got to stop the Vrood from getting their hands on these keys. And it's a good setup. It's nice, it's got some good plot, there's a lot of suspense in it, and it's got some real classic Doctor Who bits to giggle at as well. Partly one of the reasons to enjoy classic Doctor Who is to laugh at it, to be brutally honest. They have the aliens in it, the Vrood are literally men in wetsuits, which is hilarious on its own. They're talking pseudoscience, you know, oh, why this beach has got glass instead of sand, and I'm like, isn't sand technically ground up glass anyway? They're handling these pods that have been in the acid sea completely unprotected, and you're thinking, are they going to burn their hands off? And plus the fact you see the stage hands a couple of times in the Inca temple. There are these swinging doors and you can physically see the stage hands pushing them round. It's hilarious. So really, it's got loads of little funny bits to giggle at, whilst at the same time being a really nice setup to what's going to be a continuing story arc. The second episode is The Velvet Web. And the Doctor and his companions end up in this absolute sort of Roman palace, an absolute luxury, and they're offered anything they want. But not all is as it seems. And this is a really good episode for actually how well they can do Doctor Who on such a small budget. There's nothing really to giggle at. The alien monsters in it, which are these sort of brains in jars with eyeballs coming out, actually do look really quite sinister. They do a lot of really nice tricks. The acting's superb. The funny bits are supposed to be funny. There's no real wobbly scenery problems. Really, really good episode. The next episode is called The Screaming Jungle. And this one is the companions. The Doctor actually goes on holiday. William Hartnell takes a holiday for 2 weeks in this. So he goes off and does something. So the Doctor is away doing other things. So the companions end up in this jungle that's alive, basically. And they have to go through like almost these Inca-style Indiana Jones death traps to try and get the new key, with falling nets and, you know, spiked roofs coming down and all sorts of crazy things. Again, it's really impressive what they can do on such a small budget, and it's hilarious at the same time. The key thing in it for me was they have a statue, and it's sort of almost this Buddha-style statue with its arms out. And if you stand on the pedestal, the arms close and the statue swivels round. But it's literally some poor stagehand with his arms through this. And you can see they haven't put like rubber gloves that look all stony on them. It's just literally these two pairs of arms sticking out like this that just close. And that's just hilarious. And when it spins back round, you can tell if he had his arms outstretched, it wouldn't have worked. He'd bash his arms on the wall. So you can literally see as this tunnel sort of spins round, these arms going and getting back into place. It's hilarious. But apart from that, it's actually really quite suspenseful. They've got loads of death traps going off and all sorts of things. Really, really, really fun. Good to see sort of the assistants jumping about and trying to not die horrible deaths. After that, we have the Snow of Terror, which is a fabulous name as well, where they have to basically go into these ice caves and to find the key and go through. They have to deal with this wolf trapper who's not a very nice person. And this one's pretty good, and a lot of the sets are very well done. There are a couple of funny bits though. Firstly, they have this, they've got to go over this treacherous gorge, this gorge that's miles deep. Typical, again, Indiana Jones style, over this rope bridge. But it actually looks like a rope bridge that from like a kid's park, you know, a play park, which is just quite funny because it looks a bit pathetic. Because, you know, they're going, oh, this gorge is too wide to jump across. And I'm looking at it going, no, it's not. I'm sure you could jump that if you tried. But that's not the funniest bit. The funniest bit is the ice warriors. There are these frozen warriors that when they get the key come to life and go up and chase after them. And basically the way they get rid of them is by going over the bridge and dropping the bridge and legging it. And these warriors who are doing the whole Clockwork Warrior thing with the swords sort of come into the room and see them running away at the gorge, and they look down the gorge and look at each other, and one of them even 360s. And it's just like out of Python's Holy Grail. You are kind of expecting one of them to go, they've buggered off! Which is fabulous fun. But apart from that, again, it's really quite a good episode. It's really quite we've got a lot of suspense and a lot of things going on. And then we come to the next episode, which is Sentenced to Death, or something along. Yeah, it's Sentence of Death or Sentenced to Death. I can't remember which. And it's about, and this one, it's now a murder mystery. And the Doctor has returned, but Ian, one of the assistants, has been framed for murder. So it's up to him, so it's up to the Doctor to play Sherlock Holmes and go and get him out. And this is really good. It's sort of this courtroom defence style episode with really, really over the top sort of plot contrivances. They really do. There are a couple of points where they're like, haha, so he's done it because he's done this, and you're going, didn't I see that in Scooby-Doo at some point? It's really quite silly. But actually they do, at the same time, whilst laughing at it, they actually do a very good job. It's mostly, it all goes very well until the very final piece of the evidence comes out. And which just didn't quite make sense. But William Hartnell's back, and this is one of the things they say in the commentary as well. Yes, I am sad and watch the commentary. That William Hartnell had been away for 2 weeks on holiday, and he'd come back and all his vigour had come back. So he's busy running around in that one, getting all excited and jumping up and down, which he sort of hadn't been doing in the past episodes. He'd sort of been grumbling a bit. So he needed his holiday, and he felt much better for it, which suddenly gives you this really strong episode, which really shows William Hartnell's Doctor at his strongest, doing what he does best. And then you've got the final episode after that, which is the keys of Marinus, which is they've got the keys, but have they done it in time? And they go back to the first area of the temple in the tower, the temple on the acid, around the acid ocean, and they do quite a clever conclusion. Very good. I really enjoyed this. As I say, for anyone who's wanting to have a go with classic Doctor Who, William Hartnell, the first Doctor, I recommend this. It's got all the power and suspense of classic Doctor Who, what makes you love it. And it's also got all the silly little things that make you love it just as much. You must remember, that is prime thing to remember watching classic Doctor Who, is don't watch it to expect the greatest show on earth. Watch it because it's very, very good, yet very, very silly. And it's great. And it's all the original cast as well. That's another thing. It's William Hartnell as the Doctor, Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter, and Ian and Barbara, who are actually Susan's school teachers. But they were the first ever companions. They are in the first episode. They're the first people to find the TARDIS, etc. So this gives you the original cast doing a really original plot, going and doing some great stuff. It's fast paced because it's a quest, an episode, so you have a lot of fun with it. Really imaginative. It's really nice because you get all the different facets, as well as, you know, murder mystery, aliens, old classic, you know, fantasy Indiana Jones stuff. All of it in one nice clean story. Check it out. Keys of Marinus, I highly recommend for multiple reasons. Thank you very much for watching. Over and out.